What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Black Culture Podcast. I am the Willie Ashford,
I am Price.
and today we got a topic we want to touch on. But before we get to it, of course, as always, thank you to our loyal listeners. Thank you to our new listeners, everyone that has liked and subscribed. Listen, man, do us a favor. If you're watching this video, if you're watching any of our videos, please like the video. That's very important. You know, with the algorithm, the more likes we get, the more they push the video. So please like the video, share the video, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Black Culture Podcast. So topic we want to touch on tonight is, I think, hits in so many ways in the culture. Megan Good and her now ex-husband, but they were married for 9 years, Devon Franklin. He was a pastor. They had 9 years of marriage and they called it quits. And in their words, on both via social media, it was agreement. You know, it was no bashing. It wasn't as from what we know, what they said. It was completely an agreement. Hey, understanding it's best that we go our separate ways. But the point of this topic tonight is immediately when it happened, all types of media groups, these people on their blog pages immediately went to the, they just got, it's common, we pick sides, right? Whoever you're a fan of, that's what side you're gonna pick. If in this case, if you're a fan of the church, then you're gonna go then to Devon's side. If you're a fan of Megan Good, then you're gonna go to Megan Good's side. But what kills me is how people, they're having these, well, they didn't belong together anyway. Somebody said he was holding her back, like, and I'm just looking at these like, how do y'all, like, what do you know? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know these people? But what really got me is, and what really made me want to talk about this, it was a comment I read, and it was like, wow, he's a pastor. They wrote a book on how to stay together, and they couldn't work it out. Listen, and I put this in the comment section. I don't know who needs to hear this, but church people are regular people. They get divorced. They go through things just like me and you. They are no different than me. They are no different than you. The same problems that my wife and I have in our relationships, I guarantee you there's TD Jakes or his wife probably had that problem. The only difference is more people know about it. But my thing is this, man. And you brought this up. Listen, as far as business, the 9 years was probably great. They sold many books. They had a lot, like, I could be wrong. I think they had like 3 books. Could have been more than that they sold as a couple. But to sit there and say that people saying she couldn't take what the church people were saying about her, or, well, he was a good guy and she needed a bad boy, and this, that, and the third, just people putting these stereotypes, like, man, like, how do you know what's going? Yes, somebody said that. A dude had a whole video saying, this is why good guys never win. Look at the type of dudes that she was used to. He was too nice. He was holding her back. They said she was in her prime now, and just, bro, the outrageous things that people were saying. But it's like, what really kills me is that, listen, we got to stop holding, and I know Price gonna jump into this, we have to stop holding the quote unquote church folks to this high standard, to where you think that they can do no wrong, or they have no issues, or they just, no, listen, it's not TV, this is real life. Married church folks have issues too. They have things they have to work on. And guess what? Sometimes they may not be able to rectify those things, and they may have to call it a quits. And you can't look at that like, we look at certain people and we feel like, man, if they can't make it, can't nobody make it. I feel like if you look at people like that, you hold them to this standard. To me, I just think is you shouldn't be holding them to. If you're looking at a certain couple and you say, man, if they can't make it, it's bad for the culture. I'm like, no, man. I feel like marriage is what you make it. And again, back to Price after this. They had an agreement. They both said, no bad blood. We agree it's better for us to go our both ways. But why are we painting? This was why they did it. This is why it happened. This is why it happened. I'm just waiting for somebody to say somebody was cheating, because I know those coming.
Well, let me ask you this: how many of those people that were saying that you think is actually church people? Go ahead, say it.
I don't think a lot of them was, I'm be honest with you. Maybe some of them was. My question is, how many of those people that were saying that was actually married too?
That's a good question. I just know, and this is from experience, and it's not all always, but church people can be the very ones that can tear people down when things happen. And there's no look to being a church person. You got people who go to church every Sunday and from Monday through Saturday. Um, you would never know, right? So, but I saw a lot of those comments on TikTok, saw some things on Facebook, saw some things on Instagram. Um, and I think because it goes back into what you said, because of the position that they're in, people are automatically going to hold you to a higher standard. I don't think it just has to do with them being church folks, or that he was a pastor. I think it's the fact that they're, one, famous, two, they became I don't want to say authority figure, but when you write books, who is that dude that we talked about? This was a few months back. Him and his wife, or he got caught cheating on his wife. Remember, they did the sit down where they
Yeah, I
would
know he
sit next
talking
to each
about
other. Man, they went in on him, remember? Because when you take on that
Eric
role,
Jackson.
yeah, him. And when you take on that role, man, of like having this sort of authority on a subject, just say marriage, and then your marriage doesn't work out, I think people are automatically going to scrutinize you simply because you've kind of taken on that mantle in a
Because they feel
sense.
like you have all the answers and they feel like, wow.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, and don't get me wrong, I want to know what happened in this, just in the sense of what was the cause. I think they're very smart for not releasing that, because then people are going to go in even further. But everything says true. Every marriage, every relationship doesn't work out. I'm not even married, and I know marriage is a lot of work. The fact that you said it yesterday, the fact that they made it nine years is an accomplishment in and of itself. And I personally, I don't think I've heard anyone say this. I wish them both the absolute best. Like, why aren't people wishing them the best? Like, they didn't say they're not going to be friends, didn't say that they're not going to talk to each other. I don't know what their futures hold, but whatever they do, I wish them health, wealth, happiness, blessings, and whatever comes next in their lives. I hope that they are successful in it. Just to sit up there and stay on, it didn't work out. If that were you, if those people were saying that were in that position, what would they want someone to say about them? And as a society, we criticize people when they're wrong, but when we're wrong, I just from a Bible perspective, right? You remember the story of David, and when he basically had dude killed so he could sleep with his wife. And when the prophet came and told him the story, he didn't tell him it was him, but he told him the story. And David got upset and was talking about how he gonna kill the dude and all of this. And when he found out it was him, he stopped all that killing talk immediately and he went to prayer talk. And I did find it interesting how people do that. When it's somebody else, we demonize them and dog them and call them all kinds of things and say they should have done and should have did this and blah, blah, blah. But when you're in that position, you don't say those things. So, hopefully people will understand, treat the situation as if it was you. Even though I don't know them, in culture, I would say that's our brother and our sister. What if that was your brother and your sister? You know, but we don't think like that. But look, I wish them both the best. If it didn't work out for whatever reason, I hope that from here on out, their lives are successful. I wish them blessings. We don't know what the hell they're going through. We don't know what kind of pain they're in or whatever, man. Media is one thing where you just look, we're not going to divulge what happened, because if we tell you guys what happened, y'all just going to have a field day with it. And people love to do that. Especially everything that we've gone through. over the past couple of years. So, you know, why people do it, man. People love drama, bro. That's why reality TV is as successful as it is. People love drama. But you know, we especially here on the Black Culture Podcast, we want to see our people do well. So that's my take on it.
And I think like one thing we have to understand too, they were married for 9 years, but that's a long time. But you also have to remember that's 9 years in their lifestyle too. You got to think of she's in movies. He's probably a traveling pastor too. So think about that. 9 years they stuck it out together. Probably a lot of times apart at times, doing different jobs. Listen, man, today's society, 9 years is a long time in today's society, and I think we have to take that into consideration. Like you said, man, for the culture, we have to uplift them. But speaking of culture, man, let's get into this potential or maybe, I don't know, versus.
Man, oh man. So if you guys have not heard, I think it was the day before yesterday, actually. Um, Jay-Z was on Twitter Spaces with Alicia Keys. Uh, Jay is super
Twitter
close with,
Spaces.
right. I never even heard of it until that came out. But Jay is real tight with Swiss, and Swiss is of course married to Alicia Keys. So he was on there talking about, where they were on there talking about her album Keys. Great album. Album's dope. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. But he came on to talk. I wasn't on there at that time, but we heard the audio clip, the sound bite that they put out on Verzuz, and Jay basically said, "Can nobody step on stage with him?" He said, "I'm not trying to put anybody down or say nobody's great." He said, "But look, what I've done, there's nobody who can do a verses with me." And of course, once that got let out, everybody's debating Jay is this. It was a lot of people that agree with him, particularly because they're Jay-Z fans, right? People are always going to take sides. The thing that's irritating to me is that's not what Versus is about. People are making it about how many albums he sold, how many hit records he got, how many Grammys he got. I don't think Jay-Z had this amount of number one hit. That's not what Versus is about. Versus is about this. One, it's about culture. So if you got a rapper, he's going to go up against another rapper. You got a singer, they're going to go up against another singer. And it's predominantly been about hip hop and R&B. Versus is also about, to enter into the verses, you got to have 20 hits. Don't have to be number one hits. Don't even have to be top 10 hits. You just got to have 20 hit records. And it's also about era, right? So, for example, they did a versus with Teddy Riley and Babyface. Babyface catalog is insane. So if you want to talk about a versus where two people didn't belong together, that would have been it. Because who gonna compete with his catalog? You know what I mean? Other than somebody like a Quincy Jones, and nobody can compete with his catalog because his catalog is just nuts. But they're fans of each other. Versus what it really is, it's a celebration of music. So in that aspect, there's a few artists that can step on stage with Jay. Now, Jay feels how he feels, but there's other rappers who were pretty close to his era who got 20 hits that can step on stage with him. And the interesting thing about Versus, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna let you go. Interesting thing about Versus is we can think whatever we think now, but once the Versus starts, my mind and my opinion of artists have changed so much because of how they present themselves in that Versus. This is not a GOAT debate. This is not who has more accolades. This is 20 hits, era, culture. Get on that stage, do what you do.
So I think, one of the person that come to mind, we talked about it too. I think it's quite a few. Listen, for the record, I am not really a Jay-Z, fan like that. Like, Not that I don't like Jay-Z. I'll listen to him, but I, you know what I'm saying? I probably don't feel the same way about him that Price does. So just put that out there. But to me, you had mentioned Nas. I said Eminem, but for me, the number one I think would be Wayne. I think
Wayne.
Weezy. And to me, the thing about Weezy is if you go through the eras from Go DJ to now, like Wayne to me has been existed in every era. He hasn't made anything lately, but man, you talk about hustler music, you talking about Go DJ, like you like Wayne like could step on that stage with him. And of course, if that happened, I wanted to end with Mr. Carter. I'm like if don't wait a minute, don't Wayne got a song with Beyonce too?
Yeah, he has a song with Destiny's Child. I don't know if he has a song with B. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, you got Stunt Like My Daddy. You can't bring Birdman out. Nobody wants to hear Birdman at all. Like you like Wayne has some
Bro,
songs. And I think again, I think Jay will win, but to me, it goes to at a point you have to find somebody at least to that can go toe to toe. I think Wayne could.
so here's the thing, and I meant to interrupt you on this because everybody keeps saying Jay gonna win, Jay gonna win, Jay gonna win. That's one of the beautiful things about Verzuz, because in all honesty, you don't know who's gonna win. Verzuz started off on Instagram Live, where it was just like you and I play a track, you play a track. Now it's about performance. And if you're talking about performance, I've seen Jay perform live. He rocked it. But Wayne is actually a much better performer than Jay is.
And
Wayne is a much better performer than Jay. And I say this: Wayne, Busta, bro, there's some cats who would smoke Jay in a performance. If you're talking about performance and what all them hits that you just named,
I didn't even mention Fireman, Dr. Carter. Look, bro.
Wayne, not just that. All right, so
Go D. Oh my yeah, bro.
hold on, check this out, because here's something that nobody mentioned. And here's why it would be a great matchup for both of them, because both of those dudes are bosses. Jay is responsible for the careers of Kanye, Rihanna, and I mean, of course, Jay, but I'm gonna say another artist who he helped develop was actually Neo. But Wayne is also responsible for the careers of Drake,
Bro. Like
Nicki.
you can end it right there.
I could end it. Drake, Nicki, and just with the amount of features Wayne has, because Wayne has.
I was about to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got way more. And so just think about the special guests.
I got a question for you since you brought up features, bro. Does Wayne perform Back That Ass Up?
No.
He does not?
Nah, he don't perform. So
it was a lot of people in that song. Like, where's Juvenile? Does he bring out Juvenile? Does he bring out Cash Money?
Does he bring out Cash Money?
Or all of them in jail?
He might.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, like
he might.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, he's
features and collabs too.
Yeah, he's got so many features to choose from, because Wayne's got features with him. Right?
Yeah, I was looking at literally like they got a lot of features together.
He's got two features with him, and Jay has one.
That'd be crazy for the culture. Like, just for them to do that, like for the culture, like forget the battle. Just they can literally do a versus off of their features together.
Just think about Forever. Right? That's Drake, Kanye, Wayne, and M. Right? Then think about Swagger Like Us.
Ooh,
that's Jay,
man, fire.
Yay, T.I., right?
That's,
I mean, yeah. I mean, both of those dudes got a crazy amount of features. So that I can't see that being just a 2-hour show. That'd be like a 3-hour show. Like and that's what makes it a celebration. It's honestly not about who wins and who loses. It's we make it a battle. But it
wasn't necessarily supposed to be a battle to start, was it?
It wasn't, because if that's the case, like I said, facing Teddy Riley, like, come on, man, you can't compete with his catalog. Like, there's been a lot of verses where, and look, the last verses, Bone and 3-6. I'm a Bone fan because I'm from Cleveland, but Bone clearly lost that if we're talking about being a battle. So that's not what it is. It's really a celebration of music. And so for Jay to say, can't nobody step on that stage with him, you're making it about something that is not. It's not meant for you. It's not this, it's not the freaking Grammys, bro. Like, it's not like we all trying to get nominated and we're gonna win an award. Number one, this is something that you're doing for the fans. Number two, and here's why. I mean, I'm hoping that little stunt he said was really just promo to get everybody excited, because if it is, that'll be the biggest verses ever.
Yeah.
That'll be the biggest verses ever. And my biggest issue are fans. And look, your fans, I get it. You may be a Jay fan, you may be a whoever fan. If we talking about accomplishments, let me ask you this. Can Rihanna step on? Is there anybody that can step on stage with Rihanna? She got the most number one singles of any artist.
I think, yeah.
Can anybody step on stage? Imagine if the Beatles said that to Elton John.
Yeah.
Imagine if they said, we sold 1 billion records. You 700 million short. You can't step on stage with us.
I feel like there's only one, and we talked about this. To me, there's only one person that says nobody can step on the stage from the Verzuz. Unpopular opinion, because of, the things that are attached to his name. But
who that?
Robert Kelly. To even make it a competition, it would have to be Usher. But even then,
well, you got to think.
Like, what is Usher gonna play after R. Kelly performed "Step in the Name of Love"? And that's not even his best. That's just for the culture. That song was every wedding, every
look,
cookout.
You're literally doing the same thing when it comes to once the Verzuz starts. I'm telling you, minds have changed. Like, once that Verzuz starts, there is something that happens, because I thought that about a few verses, but once it starts, man, that energy in that moment says it all, because it's gonna be like this. You can be like, oh, I didn't know he wrote that. I didn't know that he did that song. Like, all you need is 20 hits, and Usher definitely has some classic songs. Like Kels is who he is. That's very true. But it's all about how they perform the verses. Like, you can have all the hits in the world. I put you like this. Puffy said that Jermaine Dupri couldn't do a verses with him. He basically said the same thing Jay just said.
Yeah.
He said the only person that can touch him is Dre. Dude, you know how many hits Jermaine Dupri got?
Yeah, and what a lot of people go wrong with the Verzuz too, they bring up a person's accolades. Well, he has this many Grammys. That, well, in the Verzuz, that really don't matter. It's like they not bringing up
talking Grammys.
How many Grammys you got and whether you're in the Hall of Fame or not. They talking about straight records.
Yeah, because look, if you're talking about, okay, Jay has like 23 Grammys or something like that, right? I think B has 23. I think Ye has 23. Drake has the most single. Drake has the highest amount of hits for any rapper. Eminem outsold everybody. Chris Brown has sold probably double the amount of records Usher has. Definitely has more hits. Are you gonna say that they can't get on stage together? Right. So it's not about accolade. If it was about that, Verzuz would never happen. It's about, you got to have 20 hits, which solidifies you as a top artist, and you can get on stage and do your thing. And what's funny about that is there's been artists in Verzuz that I know don't have 20 hits. You might have 20 singles, but you don't have 20 hits, right? Like, true. Billboard Top 100. They were saying when Alicia Keys was on Drink Champs, because she actually already did a versus with John Legend, but they were saying who should she go up against next. People were talking about Beyonce and Rihanna, and I'm like, I would rather see them two go ahead with each other. But Alicia Keys versus her Alicia Keys versus Lauren, that would make more sense. It's a similar vibe. But yeah, man, it's like I salute all the artists who have accomplishments. Having hit records is really tough. Having 14 number one albums is really tough. Like you definitely did it. But look, this isn't about one, if you're the greatest of all time. This isn't about how many albums you've sold. Verzuz is about a celebration of music. And I said this on Facebook. I said, and the people decide who won. Do I think Jay will win against Wayne or Wayne will get? It don't matter what I think. The people get to decide that. So, and look, here's the biggest thing, Willie. I'm gonna say this and I'm done. The biggest thing is whether or not somebody can step on stage with Jay is still not proven because he ain't did the verses yet. You know what I mean?
It remains to be seen.
Right. It remains to be seen. So until you do it, it's all theory. It's all theory. Hey, listen, I want to hear what the audience think about this. If y'all think that nobody can step on the stage with Jay, or if it's somebody you think that can step on the stage with Jay, leave it in the comments because this has been an ongoing debate. And I really hope that this is just the prequel to them actually doing the verses. And first off, that's a verses that's going to have to be done like at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh,
or if Jay is involved, I know it's probably going to be done at Barclays Center because he's from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? But it would be an amazing event to see. If they do it, I'm gonna be there. Like that's something like I haven't gone to any of the other verses. And to be honest with you, I didn't necessarily want to go to a lot of other verses, but that would be one that I would go to. And the only other verses I want to see other than that, because that would be one of the greatest verses of all time. I already told you. Quincy Jones and Barry Gordy. Those are, I mean, one they in the late 80s, but they gave us culture. So that would be the one that I will want to see, man. But yeah, Jay, Wayne can step on stage with you. We're gonna say that right now. Wayne can definitely step on stage with you. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all like this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And of course, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. You got anything, Willie?
No, sir, man. Appreciate the love, everybody.
All right, now. Well, hey, this is right before the holidays. We want to wish everybody a happy and safe holidays. I just read where they canceled some flights, so I hope everybody is doing well and you can be safe. And at the end of the day, it's what it is. Black Culture Podcast. Price, D. Willie Ashford. Peace.